Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Corporate Counterculture, and today we're going to talk about something that is probably not counterculture, but it kind of is, and that is tiered goals, right? So every salesperson has goals. Every salesperson has goals. But what about tiered goals, right? Ideally, your goal is to what? Get on plan, right? That's the goal. Make plan. That's the goal. That's the goal. Is to make plan. But the last time we spoke, Brian, you actually said something that stood out to me. What did you say you wanted to, how much did you want to do in revenue next year?
I said 5 mil.
5 mil, right?
Yep.
Okay. More than likely that's not our plan though.
No. That's my own reach.
Yeah. So for me, when I heard that, it made me really think about like tiered goals. So when you think about the baseline would be what's the minimum acceptable, right? So minimum acceptable, and this is tricky because in every sales organization, a percentage of people make plan, a percentage of people don't make plan, and a percentage of people are way off from plan, right?
Yep.
So the goal is to always make plan, I feel like. But yeah, I feel like what do you think about this? The baseline, like the minimum acceptable is to be like 90% to plan right there with, because everybody's not going to make plans. Some of the deals fall through. Some of the opportunities don't go the way you want them to go. So I feel like getting as close to plan as possible, maybe in that 90-95% range. It's like that's the minimum acceptable. If you do everything right and still come up to maybe 90-95%, that's like baseline. What do you think about that?
That's pretty fair. I mean, like, as long as you can have other stuff support why you didn't get there, then that's acceptable for sure.
Yeah. And I only say that because that's the goal technically that the company puts is technically their idea of like the best version of the goal. If everybody hits this number, whoa, we do this.
Yeah. 25% over the previous year or something crazy.
Yeah. And they're not, if maybe they are if you're in a different type of sales organization, but if everybody's getting the same quota and goal, they're not basing it on what you did last year versus what you did 2 years ago versus 3 years ago. They're not basing it on the growth in your territory. They're basing it on the company's growth. So this goal may not be as relevant to you as other people, even though it is because it's your goal once they push it on you. But I feel like baseline is 90-95%, but realistically meeting quota. But if you're in that 90-95% to meeting quota, that should be baseline, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, got it. What makes somebody like you say, I want to do beyond that and create my own goal? This would be what I would think is like a stretch goal.
I mean, selfishly speaking, it's almost like I'm chasing president. Everybody's chasing President's Club. Doesn't matter who you are. You want that pat on the back, that little recognition, and whatever might come with that, whatever award might come with that. So you want President's Club for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it's just a little bit better than meeting minimum quota. You know what I mean? And that's my stretch. And in many cases, it depends on what your background is in whatever territory or industry.
Mm-hmm.
But in many cases, there's more than one way to reach that stretch. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a number in terms of actual like revenue generated or something like that, but it could be your own personal version of what a stretch goal could be, right? Like,
for sure.
Hey, my quota is 5, but of those 5, my stretch goal is going to be so many new customers so that I'm not relying on old customers. Like, I need to push myself in a new way of flipping leads into opportunities and closing those opportunities. Or it could be this new vertical in my geographic territory that is starting to take off. It could be a completely new touch point within your actual geographic territory. It could be like, hey, I've been driving by this place over and over and over again. If I could flip them and I could get them on our side, then that's a huge W in my own book. And it's little things, I think, that will help you build up a little bit of confidence depending on where you are personally. So if you're in a place where you don't care, you've been there forever, sure, that's totally fine. But if you're in a place where it's like, man, I really got to stand out this year, or I'm kind of getting feeling stuck, you know what I mean? Like certain little things are bothering me and I feel like I can't break out of my shell or whatever, then sometimes a small win can just boost your momentum, kind of boost your ego a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a middle of the ground kind of stretch goal, and being creative with it, I'd say.
Okay. See, and I love your stretch goal because I always see like President's Club as the breakthrough. Like this is the pinnacle of the pinnacle based on what we consider within the organization the best of the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have your own personal stretch goal versus what the organization considers the best of the best. I think what makes me think about that is, all right, so Kenyon Martin and Draymond Green are going in their back and forth right now, right? And if you consider who's a better player based on championships, based on President's Club, you're going to say Draymond Green. But then if you say that, then you also have to consider like a Robert Horry, who's been a contributor on a team. But if you're thinking about maybe just who you think the better player is, some people may say Kenyon Martin, right? So first round draft pick, number one in the draft, actually. And then all the things that came with it, taking New Jersey Nets to the playoffs or whatever twice. So for me, I like that you had your own stretch goal because I do like President's Club. I love getting into President's Club. Here's what makes me determine if I want President's Club or not.
What the prizes?
The prizes. And because because here's the thing. I'm always one of those people, okay, if I get to President's Club, then you have to participate. And I've been at 41, so I'm telling my age, I've been in a few situations where it's great to get there, and then it just doesn't work for my family. Because some companies, they want you to do a trip, like everybody brings their wife or girlfriend or significant other, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but now I have to fly my parents out here just so we can take a trip. So that it's like, even though this trip is free, it's now costing me like $1,000 to get somebody across the country to have them watch the kids. So, and then it's always like it's not as easy as people make it out to seem, right? Yeah. I'll do it. I like it. But then also you're kind of on edge because you're with your bosses and your peers and you're drinking, but you're also with your wife. And so work, Brian, may be different from home, Brian. So you have to, or your wife may not even mesh with these people. So I'm always like, President's Club is a kind of a mixed bag. But if it's just hey, you win a trip and you can take it with your significant other, I'm like, dude, I'm all about it. Or if it's just, hey, the boys or the sales team are going on a trip and it's just the sales team, I'm all about it. Really, for me, it's about what's the easiest lift. So if President's Club provides the easiest lift, then I'm all for it. But the reason why I like my own stretch goal, because it lets me know and the company know, like, hey, I'm a star player. I still know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm valuable, but I just don't want to do this trip. You know what I mean? Or maybe I didn't make the trip. It's fine. Whatever. I just can kind of push some of that stuff to next year. I like the stretch goal because it puts me in a comfortable position to where, depending on how I feel or depending on what my home life is on that year, I can kind of sandbag a little bit of stuff for next year. So that's why I like tiered goals. I don't know how you feel about that.
Like there's a game to be played in any situation. And if you don't care for it, right? Like if it doesn't do anything for you, if you're not that type of like social extrovert and you don't really care to kind of be in that type, like you're saying, that type of environment with your significant other, your wife, whatever, and your work guys, or maybe you don't get along that well with some, like depending on the culture, like maybe that's just a thing. Like it's just you're your own island and you don't really care to be around coworkers outside of working time.
Yeah.
And so, maybe that just doesn't attract you, and that's totally fine. Everybody's got their own drivers, but the stretch goal is important because you got to have something to work towards other than just like doing the bare minimum. You know what I mean? And there's always other ways to quantify your expertise or your development or your growth, depending on your tenure at whatever location you're at and whatever position you're in. So for me, it's, sure, everybody needs to reach for President's Club, right? And that's like
for sure
a corporate standard in terms of like what you want, what you should want, for sure. But I think everybody has to find something else, right? Like you quantify your own stretch goal, and it could be, hey, I want to hit the same number with less time on the road. I want to, you know what I mean? Like I still want to meet quota, but I don't want to work as many hours, and I want to be more efficient in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's still a W too. right? Like,
For sure.
or I want to take more vacations this year and still hit quota or whatever. Or if I hit quota, then that means I'll take an extra. If I hit quota in November, then I'll take another week in December. I don't need to push as hard in December to try to hit quota. You know what I mean? So you can get creative in a million different ways in terms of like incentivizing yourself. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be an external reward. It could be an internal driver, like an intrinsic driver.
I like that because you're tracking in the right direction for me, because what you're saying is that you can create goals that help you reach quota and beyond without them being tied to just the number that you have to hit to reach quota or beyond. So like you said earlier when you said, hey, I want a certain amount of my new revenue to come from new customers instead of just penetrating. I think that's super important because a lot of times, we all know this as salespeople, I'm just going to say, when people get deals, he's like, he just got that one big customer that just keeps feeding them. He's not really selling anything. So I like that you even said that, like, hey, I don't want to just be known for penetrating one customer over and over. I want to be known for being a true hunter and actually going out here and getting it and make sure that my customer mix is balanced. That's a really good stretch goal because everybody lives to find a customer that's big enough to help them make plan. Like, it's just human nature. Like, oh, this is a good customer. Oh, I can get 3 opportunities from this one customer. I'll take it. Right. So even the fact that you said that makes me think about, okay, stretch goals, like you said, could be travel less but still make quota, do 20 cold calls more than I did last year on my month-to-month basis. Basically, it almost sounds like mental health management. If I'm being honest, like, it sounds like you're saying, so I don't go insane chasing this all or nothing number.
Yes.
I need to create tiers of goals that help me with momentum, that help me manage my sales cycle, and that also keep me personally tied to a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, it's too easy to just like go crazy chasing this giant number and really driving yourself insane in the sense of like, man, I'm never going to hit this. And depending on how strong your mental state is, sales can be very, very difficult in that sense, right? And you don't want to give in to the pressures of sometimes people above you, and sometimes that can turn into negative self-talk, and I'm never for that. But if you can get creative in terms of new approaches and dealing with the natural ebbs and flows of the year, right? Like, we all know that, for example, holiday season, things slow down. And we also know that during the summer, things slow down. For sure. When everybody's on vacation, their kids are on vacation, all that stuff, that type of thing slows down. And there's a big push at the beginning of the year to get started on all these projects. And then you got to close out these projects by Q3 and all this other stuff. So there's some certain ebbs and flows throughout the year. And it's too easy to get caught up into that and then really get stuck with, man, I had all my eggs in this basket and it was supposed to close and it didn't go. But just because I rode the wave of the ups and downs naturally. Whereas if you have something to kind of balance out the rest of the year and you have a different target other than just dollars that you can come back to in terms of like, hey, my own effort that I put forth, I didn't let the ebbs and flows take over my year. Also, if this turns into a conversation with your leader, say, hey, I didn't hit my quota, but look at what I did do. Look at all these opportunities. Look at all these accounts I contacted. Look at all these leads I turned into opportunities, and they didn't close this year, but I'm setting the stage for next year or something like that. It's a way to cover your ass in another way too. You know what I mean? In terms of just dollars. And granted, dollars rule all. Like, as a sales guy, you're judged on what you're bringing in. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But it's about keeping it balanced and keeping it healthy in new ways than just quota, President's Club, and no in between.
True. Dude, I love that. So tell me this. When you think about, as we're talking about these tiered goals, what do you, from your perspective, how do you communicate that to yourself on the daily when you know your boss or your organization will only care about the big number?
That's a loaded question. That is a loaded question. I don't know, man. I don't know. I go back to what we've been talking about the last couple episodes too, in the sense of like track everything. And so I go back to, have your charts, have your call logs, have your email tied to CRM, have all the stuff and all the effort that you put forth documented somewhere, have a target list and kind of check off the target list. You have to find ways to supplement or potentially even like double down on the following year if you don't think that you're going to make it this year. And it's like, hey, I ran out of time, but all this effort is going to is going to come to fruition, next year. And I might even surpass whatever the threshold is for President's Club or whatever else. So like, there is no guarantee in that though, because everybody kind of takes it a little bit differently depending on your tenure and your kind of historical performance. People can say like, oh yeah, he's good for it. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry, he always has a bounce back if something like this ever happens. But if you're brand new, then you don't have that history behind you. You don't have that, kind of like people in your corner saying that he's good for it and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That gets difficult. That's a hard one to manage, I'd say. What do you think?
Man, so I think I know, because as the organization continues to put pressure on you, as they should, that's their job. So I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. I think in order to maintain your sanity in the midst of chasing this all or nothing number for them, I think your tiered goals can help you signal to yourself daily wins or stack small wins, right? So maybe it's on a week-to-week basis, or maybe it helps you when you have a really good day. It helps you to not just cut out early because you still have a tiered goal you want to hit. Or maybe on your bad days, it helps you to keep going because you're saying, hey, that's cool, but this is what I'm trying to accomplish this month. So this sales call that did not go right is separate of me still making my 30 cold calls this week, right? This was a scheduled call. I got on the hook. I still need 15 left, so I still need to continue to make some calls. I think that it helps you mentally and psychologically to really be flexible and adapt when it's time to execute. Because if not, all you're going to think about is, yo, I gotta hit the goal or the quota, and then you'll see somebody make a sale or a deal comes through. It's not your deal. They're on the board. Other people get on the board, and then that creates anxiety. Like, I think that's me. Anytime I'm new at an organization, especially like now, right? That first 4 months, you're just like, yo, I gotta bring something in. These people are killing it. They're bringing in more stuff. Then you get to month 6, and you're like, yo, I don't care how long you tell me the sales cycle is. Stop telling me that. I'm used to being that guy over there. Like that guy, I'm used to being that guy. So, yeah, I think from a sanity standpoint, you almost need those tiered goals. Because if not, you'll kind of just, like, I can even say when I don't have those type of goals, I just kind of like flail or just, you know what I'm saying? Just float. Where it's not really beneficial. You're doing the work, but it's not intentional. You know what I mean?
It's not like concrete, and to your point, it's not intentional, right? Like I don't know, man. It helps you. It helps keep you grounded in a way of like, okay, whether I have closed or have not closed, whether I've hit goal or have not hit goal, I still need to hit this minimum cold call, quantity. Yeah. You know what I mean? I still need to hit this minimum FaceTime hours or whatever the other thresholds might be that they're tracking. And so it's just one other thing to kind of keep you focused outside of this like unachievable. Like it's it's kind of one of those things of like, how do you eat an elephant, right? It's one bite at a time. So sure, you might have a giant goal, but how do you really kind of break that up into small wins, and how do you make incremental kind of steps towards that? And it could start with the 20 cold calls, and that those 20, it could turn into one that flips to an op, and that one could be the one that you are able to close, and that gets you going. But it helps you kind of realize that, hey, these 20 are what are keeping me going. You know what I mean? And it's making that goal less scary. But it's, again, in the corporate culture, it's easy to just say like, oh, you suck. You know what I mean? And so you have to be tough. You have to be mentally tough to say, I don't for these reasons. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I didn't hit goal, but for these other reasons, I'm going to next year, and I've laid the foundation in this way and that way that I wouldn't have laid otherwise.
No, so, for sure.
There's a lot, man. There's a lot. Yeah. And like you're saying, right? Like if you're coming into a new territory and you still have to lay your foundation, you have to deal with a completely new sales cycle. All that can be scary too. And you have to find ways to keep yourself engaged and being like, man, did I make the right choice? Did I, maybe I shouldn't have come over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. And I think that's important, man. And just to piggyback off what you said, I think that even with, like you said, the 20 cold calls, I think that having the tiered goal can help you like stop and pause and reflect and assess. And then you can communicate how you've held yourself accountable, and then you can ask for more resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I'm big on. I'll say, hey, man, you know what? Boss man, you know what, dude? I've had this many cold calls every week the last 4 weeks. I got goose egg 1 week, 2 leads 1 week, and one potential opportunity. I need some help from marketing, or I need some leads from this, or I need something that. Can I go to a trade show? Can I pay for this thing right here and see if that works? Because if not, then they'll just look at you like, hey, well, what's going on? Like, where's the opportunities? You'll just go down your one-on-ones and your head-to-heads and, yeah, I don't have an opportunity. This person may do this or this person may do that, but that's it. You don't want to just hope that all those opportunities will go through. We all love for opportunities to go through. So I'm not saying don't rely on them, but you also want to be able to speak to, yo, if these don't work, this is also what I've done. I'm either doing well over here or I'm not. I need some additional assistance or whatever the case may be once you get to that point too.
Yeah, and even if you're asking for assistance, right? Like, of course, the next logical question to you from your leader would be, well, what have you done in the meantime? Or what have you done before asking for this, right? And you need to have
you gotta have that answer.
You gotta have that data. You gotta have that answer to back up your request. And so it's like, man, I need marketing to give me better videos, and I need marketing to give me these flyers or these lists, these contact lists or whatever, right? And it's, well, what have you done without that? Well, I've chewed through every single contact within a freaking 100-mile radius that I can find. Everything that's listed on this and this website, or this list of leads that came in through this trade show or whatever. I've gone through everything like 3 times through, and no callbacks or no actual opportunities. So we need to get creative. We need to try something else out. Now investing dollars, here's what I've done for free. You know what I mean? In that sense. So it's just arming yourself, man. It's protecting yourself, but also not letting this like huge goal overwhelm you, I think. You know what I mean? Like it's too easy to get overwhelmed. And I think that a lot of people kind of shot themselves in the foot, coming into this year, for example, where we're at, in terms of like, wow, it was a huge quota this year. You know what I mean? It was almost like they were already kind of setting themselves up of like, wow, it's so big, it's unachievable. And I'm really big on self-talk, and I'm really big. We talked about mental health and stuff like that too, and little ways that you can kind of set yourself up to be successful. And one of those ways is to not make something bigger than yourself, and, kind of not make it so scary that you make yourself smaller against that. And I feel like there were a couple people,
for sure,
out of the conversations that I've had personally, that have said certain comments to me pertaining to the goal. And I was like, well, you're already kind of dying before you even get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's super important, man, because self-talk, dude, it'll kill you before you start. It'll kill you before you start, bro. And that's
exactly it.
That's where I think information comes into play too, because when I saw the goals too, I naturally think, well, what's the average deal size y'all are doing here? Like, what's the average deal size and how long does it take? What's the smallest deal y'all are doing? All right, cool. So like, it's either 16 of just this, which only takes 2 months to implement, or is it 5 of these? Is it 4 of these that take 9 months to negotiate? And what's the bottleneck? Okay, so is it legal or sales ops, or is it equipment? Once you have all those things, you can kind of arm yourself better. But yeah, you have to have a starting point when it comes to that stuff. Real quick though. All right, so going back to the idea of tiered goals, if sales, what is it? I'm blanking on my head. If sales, not sales, what's the top? What do we call it?
Well, leadership?
No.
C-suite?
No, President's Club. I don't know.
President's Club. Okay.
If President's Club is like the top of tiered goals, is there anything beyond that? Like, is that just automatically because we're in sales, right? So does it matter if you're an NBA All-Star if you don't win a championship, right? So
that's a good way to put it. That is such a good way to put it.
Is President's Club like, hey, that's it. If you're not in President, this is the top goal. Don't try to intellectually convince yourself that anything beyond this is the top level, right? Is that a true statement?
So it depends on the person. And here's why I say that. If you are potentially looking into changing, moving up the ladder or moving into a different role altogether, then you have these wins in your win column. And it's a big deal if you're moving into a potentially different role, whatever. And it says like, hey, this was my goal, and I doubled it, for example.
Yep.
Whereas if you have no intent in moving and you're going to be in the same sales position, you like the flow, you like the money, and you're still kind of 2-3 years out or 5 years out from potentially actually changing positions or looking for a new company, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I think that now beyond President's Club, it's going to be either monetary or it's going to be some sort of like life upgrade, right?
Okay.
And for me, I'll tell you, like, I'll chase the paycheck, you know what I mean? And I'll chase the fat commissions all day long.
Yeah.
Especially if you are rewarded for surpassing goal and stuff like that. And there's always talks, different companies do different things. I came from a place that if you hit the team goal early, then like anything beyond that was like double the team rate, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was good. That was actually really, really good. But then like I would chase monetary reward. And if, there's really nowhere else for me to go monetarily, then I would chase like some sort of comfort in terms of like, I'm going to do 4-day weeks and I'm going to take every Friday off.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to cut out early and, and every day is going to be a short day. I'm going to stop my meetings at 2 p.m. and I'll take the afternoon to be with my kids or whatever. Different things to kind of take your foot off the gas in that sense, because really President's Club is great. Don't get me wrong, President's Club is great. But at the end of the day, like if you have nowhere else to go, why are you doing it? And at what cost? Don't forget, there's no solutions, there's only trade-offs. So like at what cost? And that's a very, very personal thing.
It is.
There is no way to say that this is the best way to do it for everybody. If it's me and I'm at the top of the leaderboard or in the top 5 or something like that, then I would want to watch my back and make sure that nobody's taking over. But at the same time, if I'm at the top and nobody's even close to me, like what else am I doing?
Yeah. Because your plan's going to reset, right?
Yeah, it's going to reset.
Okay, so then let's go there. If you, like you said, you're looking down the line and you're eyeing a different position within the company or outside of the company, then what is the top of your tiered goals? If it's not President's Club, then what is it? Like, are you building a different book of business? Like, let's say you're looking for a new gig or a new position. Are you then saying, hey, I'm going to start catering my services, my consulting, my selling to this industry? Like now I'm the guy in the company, hey, 90% of my book of business is all tech startups, or 70% of my book of business is all furniture manufacturers or 3PLs. So do you then start fixing the numbers, fixing the books? You know what I mean?
Right.
And sports betting, what are you doing? If you're not going for President's Club as your top breakthrough goal, and you're looking at other things besides just being the same position at this same company, and maybe you're going to a different position in the company, but if you're saying next year or 2 years from now, I don't want to be in this spot, no matter how successful I am in this spot, what should some of your tiered goals be?
I think, and it depends on your overall target, right? Like if you want to specialize in something, then you need to find a way to really rub elbows or, establish certain connections and kind of make yourself that guy to certain companies. If it's potentially, hey man, I like what that company over there is doing. We work well together already. Maybe they're a customer, maybe they're a supplier, but you want to kind of change a pace, a change of environment. Then let me take a real deep dive on who their customers are and the projects that we worked on simultaneously, and how I can be more well-versed in what they do because they're my goal, right? So
I hear you.
Is it a change of scenery? Is it a change of title and like seniority or climbing the corporate ladder? Maybe are you looking for a VP position or something like that? And you need to you're trying to build a team now, right? Like you want to do more in-depth projects. You want to have bigger effect other than just bringing in numbers. It's very, very different. But in sales, like I'm a sales guy, I'm a sales manager, and I want to be here next year and I want to continue to bring in sales and continue to get paid commission, what else is there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And okay, so stay there. All right. So if you want to manage salespeople, if your goal is to manage salespeople, should you be able to do it if you don't hit President's Club?
Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think so, because what makes you good enough to coach if you can't do it yourself, right? Like, I mean, technically there is that expression of like those that can't do coach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Or those that can't do teach,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And so I don't think that applies to sales though, because
You have to be.
if I'm on a team
Huh?
and there's a whole bunch of guys that are on the same level as me, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden I'm not performing any better than them, and yet let's say I am promoted to be their leader, they're going to be like, I know you, you know what I mean? Like, I do better than you. I'm not going to listen to anything you have to say. That's how
true.
I feel.
True. And I'm only curious about that because it's a tough thing. I've been voluntold to manage people, right?
Okay.
And I really have wanted to just be an individual contributor. So I was a shitty manager, I think. And I was also a good manager because I knew like, hey, when I was doing well, none of this stuff mattered. But now you're on the other side of the table and they say, well, you chose to be in this position, so now it does matter. You don't get to say it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
You don't get to ruffle feathers and be the squeaky wheel. You can't be a squeaky wheel to yourself. Like you're on this side of the table now. So I guess where I'm trying to figure out is like, should you force, because it happens a lot, should you force really good salespeople to be managers because they were really good salespeople? I guess that's the better question I should have asked.
Yeah. Does being a really good salesperson mean you're going to be a really good manager? No.
Yeah.
Does being a bad salesperson mean you're going to be a bad manager? Also no.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, man. It's very, very hard, right? Because I think that if you're going to be a good sales manager, your biggest focus is just lift up the people around you.
True.
I've had good managers that are kind of trust you to do your stuff. They trust you and say, look, man, it's your territory. It's your business. You do what you need to do to just hit your goal. You just tell me what I can do to support you. That's the best type of manager. Leaves you alone, gets out of your hair. You're trusted to do your work. The worst type of manager is a micromanager that thinks that they need to be involved in everything because they're, trying to cover their own ass in a way. Mm-hmm. And they end up hurting their team, hurting themselves, because now they're just in their guys' ear all the time and not letting their guys do their stuff. It's so independent. I think it's very, very independent, one or the other. I don't think that being a good salesperson means you're automatically going to be a good manager.
Yeah.
Unless you have a very, very defined list, very like clear-cut list of what you liked and what you think you are and so forth. It's not all the same.
It's not. You're right.
Selling and teaching, or doing and teaching, are two different things. Supporting and selling are also two very different things. True.
Okay, I'll take it. That's a good answer. Yeah, I've always wondered about that. Like, what's the person? Like, how should you be? What's the qualifications to be a great sales manager? And if you aren't really good at sales, should you be allowed to be a sales manager? But I have seen people who were just really analytical and they were a wizard with administrative tasks and duties and internal structures and leadership. They were really good. It was the outside day-to-day of dealing with customers and then coming back to corporate and being left in the winds where they didn't have that support. That's what really bothered them. And so I was like, oh, they just don't have an appetite for this structure. But when you take them out of that structure and allow them to coach or manage people, they were super dialed in. But I don't even know how often that happens. So I think you're right. There has to be some sense of success from the sales side. So I guess I agree with you there.
Yeah. And also too, like, it depends on the audience, right? Like,
unless you're Nico Harrison, right? Unless you're Nico Harrison or something, you could just, go from Nike to the Mavs and then get rid of Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I don't know how that makes sense. Well, that's what you do. You get a guy who probably doesn't have no idea what they're doing and gets rid of the best player to hit that team since, Dirk Nowitzki.
That's the perfect, sense. But see that in that case, that's why I think it would be better for the company to have somebody who maybe didn't make President's Club, because it's somebody who probably is a little bit more in tune with rowing in the right direction that the corporation wants them to go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so
yeah.
I threw the Nico guy under the bus, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't like I'm sure he doesn't get the final say, but if he's willing to take the bullet, then, that's kind of like what a sales manager would be doing in a sense.
Yeah. And here's a perfect example of that. My sales leader at my last place, he's a great guy. Mm-hmm. However, he was completely new to the organization, so he didn't know how deals actually worked.
Yeah.
Right? Like how you go from opportunity creation, site visit, putting a proposal together, sending it off, going through the approval process, and all the internal workings of making certain sales and actual like successes occur. And so he would come in and think that he's helping everybody, and he was actually just getting in everybody's way. You know what I mean? And so there is significant value to being a successful sales guy, being boots on the ground, being in front of customers, having these conversations, understanding what the overall proposal process, quoting from here, talking to this department, talking to that department, talking to legal, understanding all the different frustrations that your typical team member is going to go through.
True.
Huge benefit to having that firsthand experience, without a doubt.
Yeah, I guess.
However, having a newer leader that is new to an organization that is willing to learn and defer to you, that's a whole different story. Whereas that other guy that I just mentioned didn't ask. He just didn't ask. He's like, oh, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do now. You do this. I do that. You do this. Go to this person. Go to that person. He had no idea what he was saying. Whereas I've had a new leader join an organization that I'm already a part of. And they're like, what do you think? What do you need from me? What's your input? What should be done here? And he didn't take the lead. He was open to input. And he was like, oh, okay, I see where I can help. Not top down, but bottom up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I don't know. Hard to say, but it just depends on if that's a driving factor for you, right? Like if that's a huge goal for you way down the line, and you know what, I've been in sales long enough, I've had my territory, I've traveled too much, I want to pull back, I want to be able to help my team from the comfort of my own office without having to get on a flight every month or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to set myself up to have all this data that says this is why I'm good for this leadership role or good for this other company that has this open opportunity. But that's a huge overarching that doesn't necessarily apply to your day in, day out, year in, year out quota goal.
Okay. I can see that.
Little wins. It's separate, man. It's separate.
Little wins.
Quota is a good benchmark for everybody. If you're in sales, you got to meet quota.
You got to meet quota. True.
If you're in sales, you got to meet quota. That's the end of the day. But to keep yourself sane, set up smaller goals that don't seem like they're unachievable. And the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
I like that. So to sum it up then, I know we're getting sidetracked, but I guess I hear you, so I'll get back on track. So to sum it up, tier 1 is minimum. That's as long as I do this, this is what I must do. Tier 2 is you're stretching yourself. This is what I hope to do, right? So I must do, this is what I hope to do. And then tier 3 is... that's just you knock it out the park. Yeah.
Easy, knock it out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So tier 1, have to do. Tier 2, hope to do.
Tier 3, killing it.
Tier 3 is killing it. Heaven or something. I'm always about the alliteration. This makes it easier to follow. The sales guy in me, I'm like, how do I make this make sense?
You gotta make it rhyme. Yeah.
Yeah. Hope to, have to, hope to, and then I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll come back next time.
Come back to it.
I'll have another H the next time.
Yeah.
All right. So let us know what y'all think about tiered goals. Are you a person who says, hey, this is the sales plan, this is the number I'm chasing, and that's it? That's the only thing that matters? Or do you kind of break it down and decide to put tiers on everything? Or are you somebody who just likes to see the sales plan and then you try to obliterate it and you just shoot past it? And How often have you, let us know in the comments how often you've made plan, and then how often the team makes plan, or not even the team. How many people, what percentage do you think of people in your sales org makes plan? That's always an interesting one for me, because then I like to think, are plans realistic? Depending, I think they are, but also it depends. Sometimes it gets murky where nobody's making plan. You got to kind of watch for that. So let us know how many people, or the average percentage of people on the team that are making plan, if that makes sense.
100%. 100% it does.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for listening.
Thank y'all for listening. We'll talk to y'all later.
See ya.